Almost 2 years ago, I completed the K-swap on my 1995 Honda Civic. Took the car to get dyno tuned, and then about a week later, we started fully stripping the car down for a restoration. Now, originally, we only planned to paint the engine bay and the exterior of the car, but the underside of the car looked so terrible that we actually ended up stripping the entire underside of the car and painting that as well. Now, we painted the underside and the engine bay. My dad did all of the rust repair on the exterior of the car and all of the bodywork, and then we took the car to get professionally painted. Once we got the car back, we started assembling the exterior of the car, some of the emblems, the door side molding and things like that. Then I switched my attention to the rear suspension, then the front suspension, so the car was once again a roller. Got the brake lines done, so the brake system worked. And then it took about 5 weeks to do all of the wiring on the car because I did want to do a full wire tuck and fuse box relocation. So now that that's completed, it is finally time to put the K-swap back in the car and finally start this thing for the first time in almost 2 years. Okay, so the first step to getting this car started is the fuel system. We have to hook the fuel system back up. So I have a brand new fuel tank here from Rock Auto, and it's pretty awesome. This thing actually came painted, so I don't have to worry about it rusting anytime soon. I have a new fuel level sending unit I found on eBay from someone in Japan, and then I painted the OEM fuel pump hanger. Really happy with how that turned out. We're going to be doing full AN lines for fuel lines, and here we're installing a -4 AN compression fitting onto the OEM return. So we did have to cut it and modify it a little bit in order to install that, but I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then for the feed, we're using a -6 AN adapter from K24. And now I'm just going to start assembling the PTFE AN fuel lines. Yep. Okay, so took a break from the fuel lines. You saw the last clip where we got the gas tank all tidied up back there, but the fuel lines under the car still kind of hanging a little bit, so we need to do some extra mounting under the car just to make sure everything is secured. But I started working on the clutch line, so that runs. Got it sitting right where it needs to be. We just need to make that last cut, and then we can put the flare on there. We will not forget to put the fitting on. I cannot deal with that right now. But yeah, looks pretty good. I tried to make it follow the frame, and here's how it looks up here. It kind of goes right under that S2000, curves back there. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just gonna do the last cut, mark it, do the last cut, and then put the fitting on there. Okay, clutch line's done. Looks like it lines up perfectly. We got this little flex on here. This will go to the clutch line on the transmission. So when the engine moves, obviously we'll have some type of flex there between the two hard lines. Looks pretty cool with all the hard lines over there. Need to get the Sharpie marks off. Some steel wool will take it right off though. I did unhook the fuel lines, just to make it easier to slide this line in and out. So I'll get those hooked back up, and then, I mean, there's really nothing much else to do. I just want to put the engine in here, get this thing started up, and then start tackling like the little stuff, like finishing up the AC, finalizing the mounting of the fuel lines. Obviously we still have to finalize the wiring, but at this point, I just want to hear this thing run, and I don't think it should take that long since everything's already figured out. We didn't change anything about the engine. Still running the same trans, same mounts, same coolant hoses for now. I'm not going to put a, I'm going to switch over to a swivel neck thermostat when we do the AC to give more room for the AC lines, but we're not going to do that right now. So everything should just bolt right up. Nothing's rusty, nothing's dirty, so it should go pretty smoothly. Let's see how far we can get today. Okay, so I'm trying to remember where the last clip left off. We got the clutch line all taken care of. It's a little dark under here. Fuel lines are still flopping around. Got this mounted finally. So I'll hook the fuel lines back up. But as you can see, the engine's under there. Getting ready to put the engine in. Just making sure that I have my ground holes still. Got a ground here and a ground over here. So just making sure we have those. Looks like I'm gonna use this hole here, and then I'm gonna use this bolt here to ground the transmission ground. I'm also gonna stick this engine mount on, and I think that's pretty much it. So it looks like we have the bolt holes for the ground. Let's go ahead and try to lower the car on and get the engine mounted up. Okay, so the engine is in. We have 2 motor mounts currently hooked up, and it went a lot smoother than last time because I left everything loose. It's actually kind of bound up right now, but trust me, it's loose. I think the engine's just sitting a little bit low, and I'm hoping it won't be too hard to get that back mount in with these still loose. Whew, gotta catch my breath real quick because I was just wrestling this little hose on. Hopefully this kink will be okay. Doesn't look too good, but I think it'll allow water to flow through there. We're just gonna run water in it today because we will be taking this all off later. In order to put the full-size rad and do all the AC setup and stuff, we still have to hook the HVAC up. I just want to get this thing started just to be sure that it still runs after messing with all the wiring and stuff. Got this vacuum line hooked up, got the clutch line hooked up. Still need another clamp for this side. I ended up moving my clamp to that one, so see if I can find that. I think I'm gonna run the wiring through and then get the radiator hoses hooked up. Shifter cables, we can wait until after it starts. We're getting close though. We'll hook those 2 grounds up, get the ECU in the car. I think that'll be the next step. Okay, so all the engine mounts are in. I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten them up. Then we'll get the ECU hooked up. Got this alternator wire run through. I'm actually really happy with the routing. Let me show you guys real quick. So we're gonna run the starter wire same exact way. It actually tucks all the way up there, all the way around. Damn, where the frick? That's right. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's hard to see. I actually had it tucked all the way up there. So let me show you how it looks in the car. Right in there like that. So we got both of those. Then we just need to run the starter off of this junction block right here. And we'll run that the same exact way. So I'm about to crimp a terminal on this wire right here. Got the alternator on, starter. Rubber, so we've got an axle, which is not enough. No. Jesus Christ. A bunch of shit popped out the back. Oh yeah, that's for the damn. Turns over, dude. Freaking awesome. Okay, so it's been about a week since I cranked the engine over and the starter actually ran. So everything is almost ready for our first start. We have the radiator hoses on. Obviously the grounds are hooked up, we got the clutch line, we got the fuel system hooked up. Probably put the intake on before we started. I don't think there's anything else in order to start it. The gas, before the first drive though, we have the axles and the shifter, and I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else, but header, obviously, we'll probably put the exhaust on. And that should be enough for like a first drive. So what we're gonna do today is, I got a gas tank and we're going to put some gas in the car. We're gonna hook up the fuel pump and make sure that we have fuel pressure, that the fuel pump runs, and that we don't have any leaks. The fuel system is simplified now though. We only have these four fittings here. We got our fuel filter, we got the feed, we got the return, then the feed line from the gas tank. And then at the gas tank, we have two fittings. So there's not much that can leak, but hopefully, it was my first time assembling AN fittings, these ones down here and the ones at the gas tank. So hopefully I did it correctly and we don't have any leaks. But I'm gonna go ahead and get some gas in this car, hook up the fuel pump, go over everything one more time, and then we'll give it a try, cycle the key a few times and see if we have fuel pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna go in the car. We're gonna hook up the fuel pump. We can actually hook up the fuel level sender as well. Covered up for quite a while. Oh yeah, that looks nice. We're gonna have great access to everything too. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have, what is that, 20? No, like 10, like 8. But so far, we have no leaks. Everything is dry. Yep, we're holding steady. I guess it's 42.5, maybe that's what it was. I can't remember. But we are holding steady. Awesome. So that's great news because it was a little tricky assembling the AN lines, especially the PTFE ones that Vibrant has, because you have to put this little like silver, I think it's called a ferrule, you have to put that in there And then one of the lines I actually did strip out. Luckily I had a separate one. Or one of the fittings I did strip out. Luckily I had a spare one, so everything is hooked up. There's no leaks. Okay, sorry if I just blocked the camera the entire time, but the header pretty much went right in. Just kind of slide it in through here where there's a lot of room. There she is. Just got to bolt it down real quick. Even better this time.
Son of a bitch runs.
Yep. All right, go drive.
Oh yeah. My only concern is flying up the road with no inner fenders in there and a rock comes up against the
I'm
fender.
not talking about flying up the road.
But at least
I was